Hello and welcome back to Bespoke Unit. My name's CP, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing something a little bit different, and I'm talking about this very glass here, the Peugeot Impitoyables N⁰5. So this video is a little bit special because normally we review what's inside the glass, and for once I'm going to review the actual glass itself. And what better day for it than this magnificent October day, which is actually really hot, so I'm probably going to be sweating a lot on the video. Nevertheless, this isn't sponsored content, this is actually coming from the heart, and I love this glass, and not just because it was a birthday gift from my stepdaughter, but because it is an actually brilliant glass. Now, Peugeot is most known for being an automobile manufacturer today. However, it started in 1812 as a manufacturer of saws. In 1840, they moved on to making coffee mills, and then in the 1870s they moved on to making salt and pepper grinders. They still continue to manufacture these today in France, and they were recently awarded a EPV, or Entreprise du Patrimoine Vivant, which is a very high award from the French government for a company that still or continues to perpetuate and value traditional industry and manufacturing. So going into the glass itself, whiskey enthusiasts will probably recognise the classic conical, almost tulip shape, although this one is a little bit different. It's not like a Glencairn glass or a cognac glass. There are some stark differences. First of all, it's quite geometric in shape. Now, one thing that you may notice, and you might not see it in this shot, but in one of the closer shots that accompany this video, is this small dome here. Well, first of all, let's just talk about the tulip shape itself. The way it's designed is that you have a large surface area at the bottom, which allows for aromatic compounds to escape to the surface, and then this narrow cone, this tulip in the center, which allows for the aromatic compounds to escape and then come into the nose when you're sniffing, rather than a tumbler which is quite wide and they kind of escape all over the place. So it really concentrates and channels those aromatic compounds. So the idea is that you don't just get it when you're smelling the whiskey, but when you're tasting it too. The reason being that when you taste it, you're also going to be inhaling a little bit, and it makes for a much fuller experience. What sets this glass apart is this weird central dome here, and you're probably thinking, well, what's that, apart from something to put your pinky finger underneath and look classy? Well, actually it serves an interesting purpose that I believe works, and we'll talk about that in a second, is that the dome in the center prevents a buildup of alcohol odor and encourages the aromas to come up instead. What happens is the dome in the center, it prevents alcohol bloom, which is that overwhelming sensation of alcohol that when you're sniffing a whiskey can kind of knock you back. But instead, these are kind of kept to the sides, and the aromas are what escape into your nose when you're sniffing or drinking the whiskey. So you can't overfill it, you have to keep it under the dome to be able to benefit from this feature, but that is pretty much it. Now, the other interesting feature is this glass sort of coaster that comes with it. Did I say glass? I meant metal. Sorry, it's the heat, it's really starting to get to me. So this metal base is a cooling base that you can put in the freezer for 2 hours before you use it. Now, not everyone likes to cool down their whiskey, but we tend to put ice in it to do that, and that really isn't good practice. You'll see in our guides in the links below that we actually like to encourage people to enjoy the whiskey how they enjoy it, but we kind of draw the limit with ice. The problem is with ice is that it cools down your whiskey in a way that you can't control. It just keeps cooling and cooling and cooling it, and on top of that it dilutes the whiskey with water to an extent you can't control either. When you add a little bit of water into whiskey, that's fine, and that's actually a good thing because it helps reduce the alcohol content and encourage the release of nuances and aromatic compounds for a much fuller flavour. But putting ice in kind of is a double-edged sword because you can't control the extent of which you dilute it. Now, an alternative to this is whiskey stones. The problem with whiskey stones is, again, you can't control the extent of which your whiskey is chilled. It keeps chilling it and chilling it and chilling it. You can't really control the extent at which it chills, and sometimes it's too cold to be able to enjoy the flavours that are still in there. The advantage of this is after 2 hours in the freezer, it becomes ice cold, and it's got a nice sort of crusty coating of ice on it. You then place the glass on here, and there is a 30-minute cooling process, and there's a helpful graph in the full written review, which is linked below, on how that works. Basically, it cools it down and then slows down the cooling process, and any time during this cooling process you can remove the glass once it's at the right temperature, or you can leave it on just to continue enjoying the changes in flavour. And then after that is over, it's going to warm up again very slowly, so you can start to enjoy it again at room temperature. Another advantage of this is that because you're not putting something that is ice cold inside the whiskey, there are no thermal shocks. And there be no thermal shocks, you're not losing out, you're not damaging those aromatic compounds, which would then suffer as the whiskey begins to heat up. Instead, it's a slow process that encourages the aromas to stay stable. So that's pretty much it. It comes in this lovely tube packaging, and it comes also with a leather coaster, so you can just sit it on there instead. I like to think that these features work really well. I've compared it with a typical nosing glass, and I've really seen a difference in the alcohol bloom. For example, this is a Cornug, which is a French single malt whiskey that I also got for my birthday. Very interesting beverage indeed. It is 46, which is not overly strong, 46%, but still, because of its very peaty nature, it is quite heavy in the alcohol. But here, you know, it feels quite reasonable. I'm getting that spiciness, I'm getting that smokiness from this very interesting whiskey that I'll be reviewing soon on Bespoke Unit as well. Outside of that, well, this does come at a slight premium. I'm afraid I had to look. I hate looking at presents and how much they cost, but of course for the written review and for this video I had to check out the different prices. You can get it without the cooling base, which I think is a shame, because if you're going to get it, get the whole package, which would cost you $25 US for the glass and for the coaster. There's a link below where to get that. If you want to get it with the base, it's $40, which means that there's a $15 surcharge for the base itself, but I think that's definitely worth it. Are there other glasses that offer more for this price range? There are probably more luxurious glasses that are made out of crystal that you could get, like the Glencairn glasses that are made of crystal. Those are, I'm probably pronouncing Glencairn wrong. I'm really sorry to the Scots out there and the real whiskey heads, so just a little disclaimer there. Yes, you could probably get a more refined glass, but one that offers all these features to be able to discover new ways of enjoying your dram. I think this is pretty much on the top. I really enjoy it, and I've been finding that there are lots of benefits, especially in the cooling. You could potentially even heat this up so you could see what the whiskey is like when warmer, and with this central dome that make it much easier to be able to evaluate a whiskey more in depth. And I will probably be using it from now on in with all my whiskey reviews, so expect to see this glass present in a lot of videos and a lot of photos in my future ones. Would I recommend it? Well, like I pretty much implied, yes I would. At least have an addition to your collection if you are a serious whiskey collector and you want to find new ways to enjoy your precious drams. Well, that's all from me on this video. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to check out our channel. We've got plenty of other stuff, and we've also got a website with lots of other written stuff. We cover whiskeys, fragrances, cigars, suits, shoes, you name it, we cover it. I'm not going to bore you anymore. You like this video? Show your love, smash that like button. You want to see more? Subscribe, and if you want to find us on our social media, there are links down there below. We'd look forward to hearing from you. Take care.